everyone, and welcome to the Moon Mama podcast. I'm Bria Jaime, and I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I am a spiritual practitioner, creative, entertainer, and I love to talk about all things birth, pregnancy, spirituality. So if you're new here, welcome, and if you've been listening for a while, thank you for coming back. It's really fun, and today I'm super excited because I have such a cool, amazing, the best guest ever on my show. This is the first time I'm ever having anybody on the show, and it's my husband, Fabian Jaime. And I'm so happy because I know I've been talking about it in the last few episodes about wanting to talk and share our birth story. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking and sharing our birth story with Soul, our first baby. I felt like just because we're like literally, honestly, in the amount of time that we can have our next baby, I just feel like it's going to be really good for us to talk about it and kind of revisit and kind of see what comes up and what we remember. I just kind of did a refresher. I had written a blog post about it when Soul was like 5 months, and he's like 20 months now. So
yeah, he'll be 20 months on the 8th of June.
9th.
Oh, 9th.
It's October 9th.
It's getting late.
So this is Fabian. This is my amazing, wonderful husband. I'm so grateful for him and like just being so down for all my crazy ideas on this birth journey. Like, I know it was so new for him, actually. I think the whole doing it out of hospital. So actually we'll start there too, is that it was kind of newer for me too. Maybe since like 2020 COVID times is when I started realizing and learning more that like home birth and out of hospital births were happening, and I just thought it was really beautiful. It was really cool, and I just honestly 2020 just woke me up a lot, and I started doing a lot of my own research with like just so many things, and then when it came to like us wanting to have kids, I think we started to think about like how can we do this like the most holistic, natural way for like the best outcome after everything that we just like were learning and hearing, and just felt so right to be able to find a birth center that took our insurance, and it's so beautiful, pure births, and we really loved it. And we actually moved from Hollywood to Santa Clarita basically because of the birth center. But we actually really fell in love with the area too. It just like seemed really nice, but it was still LA.
I remember I wanted to move closer to the birth center because I always had that fear of what if there's a bunch of traffic on the 5 heading to Santa Clarita on the day that the baby's gonna be born. I was like, what if there's construction going on and they just block off the whole highway? I always have that fear, and that's why I was like, let's move closer. But it was funny because when we got to the birth center and we met some people that were coming from like so far away. Some of our best friends, they came all the way from what city? Torrance, which is like an hour away, and we were like over here trying.
So normal.
So everyone was coming from like Long Beach, close. Torrance, some people from Bakersfield. Anyways, but it was funny because I was like trying to get closer, and we got closer, so that was cool as far as to the location.
And it's interesting too because like that's even kind of like our first like it's like those fears of like we just didn't know like what was going to happen. We never had a baby before. Like, what is that whole process like? You know, you hear so many stories of like needing to like rush to the hospital or like wherever you got to go, and like that can be really stressful, or like, oh my gosh, I can have the baby in the car, and like I mean, there's so many different ways things can go down and things can happen, right? But like honestly, it felt really good for us, and we just actually really liked the area, and it was really affordable. Like, we really found a really good deal for like the space, and just like it was nice. Like, it was just good. Like, we couldn't find that in anywhere else, so it worked out, and it was really nice to be close by. So that was like our first thing. So that was like a few months before Soul was actually due. We moved in July, and he ended up coming in October. I thought he was coming in September. he came in July. He came in October. So we had like a few months, and we got everything together, and then we get towards the end, and like, you know, we had taken 2 classes. So our birth center like had 2 classes requirement. So they kind of told us everything. And I also did this online course, Mighty Mama Movement. So Fabian had watched some of those with me just to kind of like prepare for some newborn stuff. Also like what to do during labor, all that. But you really never know until like that moment in those days. And like, I think that's what we realized also is like, you kind of have to do your own thing. And like, you know, you learn some sort of information, but like you still do your own thing. And like, you kind of figure out what works. And like, you know, like, it's like you can learn so much. Like there can be so much information like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. But it's like, honestly, like for me, like I felt like a lot of that went out the window. I'm trying to remember better for this time, like to do certain things. I hope I can do certain things.
Every single birth story is so different, huh? Like every
and
single
I'm
birth
so,
story
like,
is
wondering how
not the
this one's
same.
gonna go.
And so no matter how much you learn and how much, I mean, it's great to know all these things because you don't know what to expect. But when I was hearing Bria listening to the Mighty Mama movement, is that what it's called? Mighty
Mama movement.
It was just a lot of information, and I would, you know, take in whatever I could, but then there was just so much that I would forget, and I'd be like, "Can we listen to that video again? Do you remember?"
Mm-hmm.
I would ask you if we could listen to that video or watch that video.
We haven't done
again.
it at all this time. We haven't taken any classes, nothing. We're just like hoping we just like know what to do. And we do. And that's what I think I would tell people is like, you will know what to do. Like, go ahead, like whatever you feel like called to watch, listen, go to, learn about. But like, you're going to find your own way for sure. Like you're going to instinctively also know what to do in those moments. And like, you kind of just get into it because things can happen really fast or take a while, and you don't really got time to go like research like, wait, what should I do right now? But it's nice to have some support, you know, to like have like, you know, the other, like the midwives there to kind of like she literally helped you like use the rebozo with me, you know, like she had like, well, we'll get to that part, but you know, people can help like also like, here, why don't you try this? Or anyway, but we were super happy with like the birth center. They were so good with us, like all the way up to the end. So just before we even go any further, like in California, you can't, it's not, or here, how do I say this? It's legally you can birth with a midwife up to 42 weeks or like out of hospital birth. So that's like the California legal requirements. If you go past 42 weeks, you probably got to like free birth or go to a hospital and be induced. And I didn't really know that, like, I just thought like due date, okay, 40 weeks. Like I thought I was going to like have the baby at 40 weeks. And then at one point I thought that like he was going to be early, and I was like, oh my God, please don't be early. I need you to be a Libra. Like I was like having all kinds of things. I was like I was like doing the numbers, like the numerology. I was like really like obsessed with like reading the calendar. And this time I'm like, okay, I know a few things, but I'm just like letting go of all that because I don't think it was helpful in the end. Like babies literally come at their perfect time, and like I didn't even like look at I looked a little bit at October calendar, but not very much. And like, who would have thought that like Soul came October 9th, like 9 days into October. So that's what I want to say is that like, this is kind of how we're going to get into this whole story. Is it started out like, you know, I go on, quote unquote maternity leave. And like at the time I'm working for Glam Squad. So I'm like basically working for myself. I just kind of stopped working at 37 weeks. And so Fabian also like put his notice with his agents and manager, I don't know how many weeks before, but like we were just thinking like, oh my God, we gotta like be off of work. Like, and like, you know, I'm thinking he's gonna come at 40 weeks or like, I have no idea. I didn't realize, like, I just didn't understand that, like, okay, first babies go, like, really a lot past their due date. So 37 weeks comes and I'm, like, home, like, every day. And we're in, like, it's, like, more of, like, a new neighborhood for us. So we're just, you know, we're enjoying our life. Obviously, we're, like, prepping everything, which I realized was so much easier last time than this time because I was able to clean and like it not get like dirty in 2 seconds, and like organize the closets and like wash all the clothes. And now I'm like definitely gonna be doing things like at the last minute, because with a toddler things just happen so fast. But literally, like, I'm like trying to put stuff somewhere and he just takes it out, so it's like, what's the point of even like putting it, setting it up? But anyway, we're just like hanging out for at 37, 38, 39 weeks. I think Fabian was still working a little bit. He had like a few gigs here and there, but I think like nothing through the agencies, maybe.
It
was like,
exactly,
it was like you were just finding your own stuff. And we were just kind of like waiting for Soul to like come. And once 40 weeks hit, and then because like I was going to the birth center every week at that point. Once you're like at 36 weeks, you go every week. Everything was good, like everything was perfect, just basically waiting on baby. And so then I start doing all the things like curb walking every day, or like eating spicy foods.
Yeah, we would walk around the block, a long block. It was probably maybe maybe almost a mile. And we'd walk almost every evening or afternoon. I remember friends and family would text and be like, "Is the baby here yet?"
It was so annoying.
No baby
just,
yet.
Like, don't do that to
Texting,
anybody, okay?
And it would make me anxious, like getting questioned. Where's the baby? Like, when's the baby? And then my cousin had his baby a month before. And
everyone was having their babies,
and they were like, they had their baby on their due date basically, or I think she got induced or something.
No, I don't think so, but
I think something like that. It was really close to their due date, so he was like, "Fabian, when's your baby coming?" And I remember like, at some point I was like, not answering.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, honestly, please guys, don't ask people that. Like, I've only been telling people that we're due in June this time, and I'm honestly telling them the latest time. when they're like, well, what day? I'm like the end, because like honestly I think it is going to be more towards the end and towards the later end. But it's just very stressful, and like I just, especially when there's this whole due date thing. I don't believe in due dates. They're just not even accurate half the time, and like babies literally come perfectly when they're ready. That's just my belief, that's just my opinion. There's, lots of stuff that you can research about that, but I just feel like it gets so stressful just thinking about like, oh my God, I have to do it with this, or else this and this and this might happen. And that's what's really stressful about it. And then when everybody else is trying to like, well, why isn't your baby here yet? Like, it's like, leave us alone. Like, just like send us good energy and love, and that's it. We'll let you know. Everyone will find out when the baby's here. Like, trust us. We're not gonna just jump off the face of the earth. Anyway, 40 weeks happens, and like, I start doing more stuff. Like, I was already taking so much stuff. I was taking a birth prep, like capsules. I was taking cervix softeners. We were having tons of sex. Like, it's crazy how different it is this time with a toddler. Like, our schedules are off, or like we're tired. So I'm like, how is that going to go this time? Because last time we were like having sex 5 times a day. And now it's like, if we can get a few times a week, we're lucky. But, we do the best we can. But, because that's really important, and that helps so much, like bring a baby down. And, like, also just because, like, your cervix softens with, like, that. So we were doing that. We were doing, like, I was eating the dates. I was having the tea. I was, like, exercise. I was doing the ball. I was doing, like, the Miles circuit, if you know what that is. It's, like, these, like, movements that help, like, bring the baby down. Anyway, we were doing a lot of stuff, and I was just, like, every single day, I was, like, it was, like, an up and down, like, mental thing of, like, when's the baby coming? So 41 weeks hits, and that's when you have to start taking, like, the ultrasounds, like, the non-stress test. So then we had to start scheduling those, and that was really stressful, because it's, like, you're on a time clock of, like, okay, you got 6 days, 7 days left. I remember having conversations on our walks of being, like, well, what if I have to go to the hospital? And I think we've even talked about it a few times this time, and I'm like, I don't want to be repeating that pattern. Like, I don't want to, like, be afraid of it, but I do have to, like, say it is still, like, a fear, like, because it's something I don't want to do. I definitely don't want a hospital transfer, but I think I am a little bit more at peace with that this time. I don't think I'm gonna go to 42 weeks, but at the same time, like, geez, like, our calendars and like my moon schedule and like period thing, like, it's just, it really could be possible, to be honest. And not in an unsafe way either. Like, Soul being born when he was, like, was not unsafe. Like, he wasn't too big. He wasn't, like, my amniotic fluid wasn't low. Like, everything was totally fine. So I know that even if we had to wait, like, 4 or 5 more days, it would probably have still been fine. He probably would have come on his own. So, well, getting to that part, we went to the, get the ultrasounds. So we're in like 41 weeks at this point, and we have like a few days left. I know during the middle of the week, because I was due on like a Monday. So, or like that, the time would have been up on a Monday. I needed to be in like active labor October 10th, which was like basically Monday midnight, like Sunday going into Monday. And I think around Wednesday, so we went to one ultrasound test in the beginning of the 41 weeks. Everything was good. And then we had to go back again on the Friday, so a few days before. Well, the day before Friday, I think it was Thursday, that was when we really tried to get things going. We went to the birth center. I saw Tiffany, and she was like, do you want me to do like a membrane sweep? And I was like, yes, because I'm like getting desperate at this point. I'm like, just everybody do everything. Like, except like a real induction, right? I'm not doing a hospital transfer. So like, it was like, the last resort would be to do the midwives brew. And I was kind of waiting for that, like, okay, it's time to do that. I was kind of thinking, like, let's do it. She's like, well, if you want, like, you can do that. So she did the membrane sweep, and I think, like, it was like, it didn't do anything, basically. And I was, like, going crazy, guys. I was literally, like, reading in this Facebook group that I'm in, like, everybody's stories of, like, all these little things, like, how to get it going. Like, I was literally, like, obsessed. And it was, like, not healthy for my mental health. But I went and did that. I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't go into labor that night. She said, okay, you can go do the castor oil. So I did. I guess when we went to the store and got the castor oil, I did, and I threw up. Like, I couldn't, like, keep it down. I mixed it with pineapple juice. Like, we went to Trader Joe's. Remember getting those pineapple juices. And then I threw it up. Like, I was like, oh, this is gross. Like, I just couldn't do it. So then Friday comes. And then I remember driving to the ultrasound. We went to Santa Monica. We had to go get it was like a non-stress test. Everything was fine. The guy was like, I don't even remember what he said, but he was just like, oh, like any day. No, like, yeah, everything's good. You know, like nothing to worry about.
What's it called? The stress?
It's a non-stress test.
What does that mean? What is non?
They just like, I was so annoyed that I had to even do it, because I'm like, I know everything's fine in there. Like, they just want to make sure they want to make sure the baby's not stressed.
Oh, got it.
So interesting, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Like it's actually interesting.
Maybe the baby wasn't stressed, but you were, huh?
Right. Like, yeah. Seriously, and that's why I'm like, okay, this time I really need to be in a different state of mind. I need to be way more at peace and just like let everyday life take its place.
I think this time around you've been through I think almost the worst case scenario in a way, and I think you already know everything's gonna be okay, and at the end of the day you're gonna have a beautiful baby girl like in your arms at one point, you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, so, and then also when you accept that, hey, if we do end up going to a hospital, like, I've never been to one before, it'll be a fun experience. No. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta just think of the positive, you know, and everything's gonna work out no matter what. So
it does.
You won't get to that point, but you know, if you just gotta accept that whatever happens, no matter what, you're gonna have a beautiful baby girl in your arms.
Yeah.
In the summertime this summer.
Exactly. And I remember, like, when I just, like, reread my written birth story, I remember even just, like saying that, like, I look back and be like, oh my God, I was so beyond stressed about the timing thing that, like, I cannot be like that this time. So I'm like, you know what? It's better to keep busy, not do too much in advance. So, like, I think I was doing a lot of, like, prep really soon. And sometimes that can, like, you know, they say, like, a watched pot never boils, right? Like, when you're just, like, sitting around and, like, I was like, I felt like I was, it was just, I just need to keep busy. I need to like be active, and it's helpful to have a toddler, you know, like to always have stuff to do with him. I mean, hey, we might be doing stuff to the last minute at this point. I told Fabian this time, I was like, I think when I'm in labor, I'll send you to the store to get like the food we're going to need.
You're 38 weeks today?
I'm 38 weeks today.
Okay.
By the way, I'm 38 weeks today. So like we have a few weeks. Technically 4 weeks is our quote unquote deadline.
We're about to order some diapers tomorrow morning.
Yeah, just to have some like disposables. But anyway, okay, so birth story was Soul. So we go to the ultrasound in Santa Monica. Everything's fine. I go back home and I had taken castor oil earlier that morning.
Oh,
right
really?
before, wasn't it right before
was
we
that
left?
when you threw it
so
up?
she said, go ahead and try again. Tiffany, my midwife, said, go ahead and try it again. Because I had thrown it up the day before and it didn't work. Membrane sweep didn't work. Wasn't in labor yet. I remember taking it in the morning. Yes, she was like, take it in the morning. So I took it in the morning, and it was like taking 2 tablespoons every 30 minutes, like 4 times. It was a lot. So like, that's a lot. And I just want to say, like, I personally look back and I'm like, I don't think I had a great experience with this castor oil. I really don't want to do it again. I would, only to avoid a hospital type of induction, but like, I don't recommend this. Like, I really think it's better to like try everything else as much as possible and also just relax. I wish that I went into and got more acupuncture instead of doing the castor oil. I wish, like, because you know what happened? Okay, a few things happened that I am changing this time. I stopped doing yoga at 36 weeks, so I stopped also like being as active that time. So I wish that I had like kept being like doing the yoga or like doing something like that. And I also hadn't gotten acupuncture past 40 weeks. So I wish that I went both of those weeks. I should have gone like at least once or twice. And I think to the chiropractor, I don't even know if I went. I think I just stopped at 40 weeks. And I think that's what, like, I shouldn't have stopped doing those things, because I think that's when it was like even more necessary. Because that would have, like, I would probably had a better, like, just like release that energy, you know, that stress, because that's definitely would have helped. So this time I'm like, if we're going there, I'm like, I'm going to be at those places like way more often to like really help with that, because I think it does help.
Why wouldn't you do the castor oil? What's the reason why? Because you said I wouldn't recommend it.
When
What's
I
the reason
start telling the story, I'll tell you more why, because it just like evolved throughout the whole thing, and I look back, I'm like, it just really messed up with like understanding what my body was going through. I think my body was going through multiple things because of the castor oil that wasn't natural. It wasn't like full on birth. I think my body was also like going through like laxative issues or like diuretic issues, you know, so like the feelings were just very different, because it is a laxative. Like castor oil is a legit laxative. It's very strong, and the amount I took is so beyond like a normal dose for anybody. Like, that's why it's a midwives, or that's why it is used as like an induction to get a baby. And you know, there are side effects to it, and you know, Soul did have his first poop in my womb, so you know, they say that's not the best thing. Obviously he was fine, it wasn't like a big deal, but it could be, I guess. I don't know, I've heard that it could be like a problem. Anyway, once we got back from the NST test, that's when like I started cramping. But I had cramps like throughout. I remember, because I just read this story, and I guess I had cramps for several weeks. I had lightning crotch. I had all kinds of things that I was like, oh my God, like the baby was like dropped in my pelvis. He was like there. He was ready. Every time they checked him, they were like, he is there. It was literally like, we're just like, where is he? Why isn't he, like, what's going on with my body? I actually just like listened to this woman on the Mighty Mamas. I caught it this time when I was listening to her. She said that her body never like naturally goes into labor. She actually has to like do all kinds of things, not just castor oil, not that that's the thing, but like she has to really like encourage her body to like go into labor. And I was like, gosh, I hope that's not like my case. Like, but maybe it is. Maybe like I do need some more conscious effort and active effort on like, and that's maybe what it was asking of me. Like, okay, no, you need to like be more active, or you know, maybe I should have like ran or something, like done some hiking, crazy shit. But anyway, later that night, so this is when everything starts to finally happen. I wake up at like 1:40 in the morning. It's like almost 2 a.m. and I think I had like slept maybe a few hours. Like we went to bed at like 10, and I woke up and I was like having kind of like really, really strong period cramps. Oh, after that castor oil, all Friday, I was like pooping a lot. Like I was like hardcore cleaning out. And that's what they say too. Like when you're about to have a baby, like usually your poops get softer and you start cleaning out. Your body's just kind of preparing for like a clean slate a little bit. Like your food just kind of digests really quickly. So that was happening all day Friday. And then by nighttime, I went to bed. Probably had a few hours of sleep, honestly. 3 and 4 hours. And I get up and I have these like really strong cramps. And I was like, it's probably nothing. But they were like really strong. And they were like pretty steady for like, they would like be like every 2 to 3 minutes. And they were really strong, so they would like last a minute. I started to count them, and I was like, "Oh my god, okay, I think that these are like real contractions." But it wasn't my belly hardening. Like a lot of people talk about, like the whole like contractions happening in the front and like wrapping around your back, and it being your belly. Like no, that wasn't it. I was literally just having cramps, like period cramps, like really bad. And I finally, I think I woke up Fabian at one point, and I remember, like, messaging the midwives on the portal and letting them know that, like, okay, like, I feel like there's some sort of pattern. And she was like, okay, why don't you just come in and we can just check you, just to check. So a few hours later, by morning, I think it was, like, 6 a.m., because I was really, like, feeling it. I was hurting. It was, like, not fun. I think I got up, I took a shower or something, and we just go to get checked. We did pack up everything just in case. This was the first attempt going to the birth center of like this whole thing. So we go there and like she checks me. She actually like stretched me. So I was like only at 1 centimeter. And she stretched me to a 3 and I was like fully effaced, which means like your cervix really thin and it's like ready to go. But I she's like, okay, you're in early labor. Just go home and, like, get lots of rest. Try to sleep because, like, it's probably going to be your last day, getting some sleep. So we're like, okay. And I was kind of, like, sad because I'm like, I just want to, like, get this going, Like, I just really wanted it to, like, be happening. This is, like, another thing, too. Like, I'm reminding myself so much, like, to have patience through this whole process because, like, and Sol has only been teaching us patience since, like, this whole beginning, even like going into it, like clearly those whole 2 weeks he's just like showing us already like you guys are gonna be learning how to be patient,
right?
Shit, man.
I've been telling
like,
you,
for no kidding,
he's taught us so much patience. He's teaching us so much about patience from the day one.
And you're already like the most patient person. I'm not, so like I'm really like having a hard time.
After we got sent home. And she said you were in early labor. Is that when we stopped by and grabbed
We got food? McDonald's.
Because it was still really early,
freaking McDonald's.
Right?
Yeah, it was really early. It was like 6 a.m. and you're like, oh, that was the only thing that sounded good to me, I guess. Like, was the sausage McMuffins.
And that's the only thing that was around here.
And so, like, I could barely eat it, though, guys. It was really not good. Like, they were like, make sure you eat and you sleep. I'm like, I couldn't do either. All day Saturday, I remember being in my little pink dress all day at home, like basically being miserable. We kept timing the contractions. Also, you kept timing them on your phone. We had like a little app.
Oh yeah, we gotta download that app again.
I don't even want to count them. I really don't want to this time. It was bullshit the whole time, guys. There was no freaking thing. It changed so much.
Yeah, it did change.
It would literally be a pattern for like an hour or two, and then it would stop being a pattern. This is why I think the castor oil intervened with that, because I think I was also experiencing poop pains, like poop cramps. You know, when you like, yeah, I mean, what else could it have been? Like, I didn't even get normal contractions. Like, I was only having period cramps. I have heard one other person say that they got just normal period cramps. Anyway, so we ate the McDonald's. I tried to eat it. I guess from what I remember also, I tried to drink water. I had coconut water. I had some like Young Living Ningxia energy drink. I was drinking that. I had some applesauce. I remember you made me a burger at one point. I tried to eat that. You made me like a burger and spinach.
A real burger.
I could barely eat. I did not want to eat. I had like no appetite. And see, I feel like also the castor oil made me not hungry, probably because when your stomach's already going through like pain because you took a laxative, like why are you gonna want to eat? You know, like. So I think that's not like setting you up for success necessarily, because you need to be, especially for a long labor or birth, you just need to be fed. You need to have a lot of energy, so you need to be able to sleep, and you need to be able to be fed, nourished. And so I regret that because, well, I don't want to say regret it, but like, I just know now for next time, I'm like, it's so important that I eat and I sleep. And so at that point, I was running on 3 hours of sleep because I could not go back to sleep.
Yeah. You
were tired. You were trying to sleep. And I was annoyed. The whole time, you guys, poor Fabian is like trying to sleep. And I'm like, I need you 24/7. So he's like trying to do some counter pressure. He's like, I'm like on the ball. I'm doing all kinds of things. And I keep thinking it gets more intense. It's honestly, it was so steady for like 24 hours, like that whole day. And then at one point, so I started losing my mucus plug. I remember that I was watching out for that, like in my panties. And then I remember taking a shower and being like, okay, we kept being on the phone with Marivette. So she was the midwife that was on call.
Oh, yeah.
I remember like, we just let her know, and you called her a few times and she would like listen.
She wanted to hear her voice to see what she sounded like.
Which
and I was like, moan.
Me.
I'm just joking. I didn't say that, but that's what she wanted her to. She wanted her to be like, before we would come in.
I don't know what they want me to like sound like. It's just so weird because like I think it's so different for people. I guess they don't want to hear anything. I think that's more what it is. They want to think that like you can't talk.
Oh.
I think that's maybe what it is. I don't really know.
They could tell probably by voices and you're hearing your sound, like how far along you are, maybe.
I mean, apparently, but like, I don't know. So like,
yeah.
I just remember like, that feeling of like dread of like having to let someone know that like.
So, eventually she said, "Come on in."
So at night, okay, what happened was my water broke. I noticed like some leaking kept happening in my underwear. So I checked with the swab and it looked like it was my amniotic fluid. This was like maybe 9 p.m. So like that whole day we were home. We kept checking in with her. She's like, just we'll know. Like, okay, let us know if your water breaks. I remember that's what she said. Let us know if your water breaks. Water broke. She's like, okay, you know what? I'm 2 hours away. I'm in Bakersfield. I'm gonna drive to the birth center and I'll meet you guys there. Like, you know, like come in like 2 hours, right? It was like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we pack up and I'm like, okay, hopefully I'm there. And I'm thinking I'm there because like it was getting so intense and I was like moaning all day. Like my neighbors probably heard me. Bless them though. They were so nice. They were nice people downstairs at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, they were always pretty nice.
Yeah.
So one of them I think was weird, but
yeah.
They were nice. Like they were a little family. So I think like everyone, even the lady across the way, I think she was like, oh, you're gonna have the baby? I think even when we left the next morning, she was like, oh, you're having the baby? She was like outside. Yeah. And I'm just like, God, just who I didn't want to see. Nobody.
Yeah.
But
that lady was nice. She was funny.
This time it's like gonna be so different. There's like we're like have a huge parking lot like to go through. No, you're gonna have to pull up the car probably.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
And they're gonna be like, is that girl having a baby? We have this like nasty neighbor downstairs that's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not like, I'm just thinking I'm hopefully I can sound in a different way. Maybe it'll sound more singing like. I'm gonna try different singing types of sounds. Yeah, I really am though. Like, yeah, because like I don't want it to sound like so miserable.
Don't worry about what it sounds like.
I know.
Girl.
I can't
just do what
care.
you gotta do. You know.
I just don't want her to call the cops. No, but see, I hate
matter.
that I even am thinking about that.
It doesn't matter if they call the cops.
Why am I thinking
if they
about
come,
that?
we'll let them know we're having a baby soon. So.
Right? Like, who cares? So that's see that's something I'm working through right now. I've been thinking about this my whole pregnancy. Actually, is like what I'm gonna freaking sound like this time because I'm pretty vocal, and the last time I was very, very vocal, and I think it annoyed me at one point that I was like, ugh. It was just like, But you know what? That's part of labor and birth, and you got to be able to be vulnerable and do that. So that's something I've learned, and thankfully, like, you've been cool about that. I feel like I broke some, like, walls and through, like, just energetic walls with you through that birth too, like, just freaking being, like, crazy like that. Anyway, we go to the birth center, and she's like,
Marivette.
I think I was, like, laughing or something, right? And we were just like, and she's like, you're not in labor.
Oh.
Or, like, she was like, you're not, there's no way.
She checked you.
Labor. And she checked me, and I was at 4 centimeters.
When's the...
I was pissed.
You have to be at 6?
Technically, you got to be at... Well, technically, you're in active labor when you're at 6 centimeters. And, you know, you want your contractions to be every 3 to 4 minutes apart. Or 2 to 3, sorry. And it wasn't. And so she's like, yeah, you're definitely going to be there by the morning, but, like, just go home and rest. I'll sleep here.
Yeah.
Guys, I was so annoyed, like, at myself. And, like, that's sad. Like, I don't want to feel that way. Like, I'm not going to feel that way next time. It's fine. That's what they're there for.
We're going to wait till the last minute this next time.
Dude, I'm going to wait until I'm about to push
because last time
out.
I felt like we went there 5 times, but it was really only 3.
Well, we went 2 times during the week.
Yeah, so right. It just felt like a lot before we were actually admitted.
That's why we moved close. See, because what would we have done if we lived so far?
Go stay at the motel, right?
And I wouldn't have wanted to do that. I would have been like, no, I need to be in my
Pitch a
birthing
tent.
space. But you know what? So I had my music on all day at home. Like, I really was in my zone. Like, I remember, like, it just got harder. So when we got back home, like, it was so hard that night. Like, I was really going through it, like, for sure. And I know you were so tired. Like, you were, like, trying to sleep. And that was when I needed you even more because it was getting even more intense. So I was, like, because I could tell by his arms, like, the way you were pressing was, like, losing it because, like, you were so tired.
Yeah.
And I felt bad, too. Like, and I didn't want to feel bad. Like, I shouldn't feel bad either. So, like, so much was already going through my mind of just, like... Yeah, you really go through it mentally. Like, it starts to become, like, a psychedelic trip because, like, your body's going through all kinds of shit and your, like, mind is, like, you're thinking about all these people. I started thinking about so many fucking people. Like, why was I thinking of all these people? Like, why did I care so much? Like, I was thinking about, like, what Marivette thought of me. I was thinking about you. I was, like, half mad at you, half, like, feeling really bad, like, for the whole situation. Thinking about, like, my family. Thinking about, like, my best friend who had just had her baby a few weeks before and the way it went for her. I was just thinking of, like, everything and, like, all the people that I know, like, asking questions and, like, I don't know. I was just thinking about, like, so many things. And, like, my mom, like, annoyed that, like, no one else was here for me. Like, it was just, like, I don't know. It was, like... It was really like I was falling. I was like, we were falling into this darkness, like, for a minute. And this is what I think, like, so this is, like, the spiritual part of it, where it really is a spiritual transformation. It's a whole journey. It's, like, this whole death where, like, you really do become reborn. You know, you start dying. And so this is, like, your part where you're dying. Because, like, you're fucking going to, like, the underworld of darkness. And you're just, like, seeing all of it. Like, feeling all of it. Thinking all of it. Like, you're in a freaking dark place. And I remember, like, by that morning, I was, like, crying. I remember crying. Like, I was just, like... And honestly, I was just beyond overwhelmed with, like, oh, my God, but what if we bother Marivette again? Like, once we get there? And, like, what if this isn't, like, happening? Like, I just remember, like, being in a really, like, dark, bad place. And also physically, like, I was dilating. I was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think also it was necessary, now that I think about it, it was like that was part of the opening, was, like, seeing all the ego shit come up mentally. That was, like, that's how you open also, is to allow that. Mm-hmm. So we get to the birth center. Finally, we call her. She's like, okay, yeah.
I remember when we called her the last time, she was, because she was in a sleep at the place, I think. She slept there, yeah, she did. And it was like, what, like 5 in the morning maybe when I called? 5? Mm-hmm. And then I remember, like, when she answered the phone, she was like, hello? it's like she didn't know where she was
my
for a
God.
second. She was like still trying to wake up, and I was like,
my
"Hi,
God.
Marivette, it's Fabian and Bria again." And then
I was crying even harder.
She
with,
said like I don't know what she said, but you could tell she was waking up and she didn't know where she was for a second. Like I think she thought she was at home, and then she finally came back to earth, and she was like, oh yeah, yeah. She's like, yeah, come through then, or whatever.
Gosh.
Or if she started asking the questions again, and
And
then
so she like got up obviously, and you know.
but it was just
like,
funny because like she was probably so tired too. We were all tired. We were all delusional at that point.
Okay, so at this point, y'all, it's the full moon. Like, it's literally okay, this is where it gets crazy. We had just had the autumn equinox, like, a week before, or 2 weeks, I guess, sorry. So, now we're in full moon energy. Literally, okay, Saturday night just passed. It's Sunday morning at this point. The full moon, it actually goes into the full moon in the Sunday afternoon. So the moon was in Pisces at this moment. So I'm like in a Pisces moon. I was literally like crying. I was feeling super emotional. Now that I look back, like moon wise, like that was definitely Pisces energy for sure. And then I think once the sun went, or the moon went into Aries, I kicked into gear, and I was like, all right, let's go. Cause like that's kind of how I always am. That's my sun sign. And then like when the moon's in Aries, I kind of get that energy too. Cause it's like double whammy for me. So I need that, like, powerhouse energy. Anyway, we get to the birth center. She checks me, and she's like, oh, you're at 6 centimeters. I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, or I was, like, at 6'7". She's like, oh, you're, like, a 6'7". I was like, thank God, because, like, I swear, like, this is, like,
we were so
fucking
happy.
Wild ride right now. I'm ready to go.
I was like, I'll go get the stuff. I remember that.
Okay, this is where things started getting weird. Or, like, just crazy, like... So we're there for a bit. I remember asking for the back room, which I don't know, like, that was so dumb. Like, I didn't know why I picked that back room. Oh, I guess because my friend did, and I was like, now I wish that I picked the front room because it was bigger and probably better. Anyway, we were in the back room and whatever. She's like, okay, just, do this peanut ball, use this peanut ball, just, do your thing. I'm like, okay, like, all right. Like, I'm thinking, like, okay, are we gonna, like, is this gonna happen really fast? Like, I remember really thinking, like, okay, this is gonna be, like, if we're gonna be there in a few hours.
What time was this at, right? At the time?
Like 6 or 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
So then another girl comes in, and we're in the bathroom. Like, I kept having to go, like, labor on the toilet. I kept having to pee. Fabian's in the bathroom with me.
It was one of those bathrooms where it's just like
there's like one bathroom.
It's like a personal bathroom. You can lock the door, and anyways, we were both in there. She had to go pee.
Yeah, I was just like laboring there, and we heard that there was another girl that was in labor. She was about to have her baby. She came in, and so she came in, I guess, with her boyfriend or her husband. I don't know who we were. We had met them at the class. They were at the class. It was kind of weird. They were kind of like, I don't know. The guy was kind of weird energy, and now we know why, because he's like psycho. You're usually good at telling.
Oh yeah, so
part.
we were in the bathroom, right? And all of a sudden, I hear you could hear someone running down the hall saying, "Call the cops! Call the cops!"
God, yeah, that's right.
And I was like, "What the hell?
Oh
like, what's going on out there?" Like, the door was
a joke. I thought like some kid was in there. Like,
no, I didn't think that was a joke. I thought, with all these shootings going on, and I was like, "Oh shit! Don't tell me someone just came in." So I was like, I didn't hear anything else after that, and then I did hear actually, you need to leave right now. That's what I heard. You need to leave.
Like, don't hit me or something.
Don't touch her. You need to leave right now. Don't touch me. You need to leave right now.
And
I think.
She said something like, "I'll give you all the money," or like, "I'll give you whatever money."
No, it was that was later.
Money.
That was later on.
Oh, it was later.
That was later on. And then I took a peek.
You left for a minute.
I left for a minute to make sure that everything was right. Like, I told her, lock the door if you have to. Like, I just wanted to go see what was going on, and then that's when I found out that girl's husband or boyfriend or the baby daddy, he supposedly was like pushing. He was being rude to the girl. I think he like pushed her, and then he pushed the Tiffany, I think. So anyways, when I opened the door, I noticed that there was sheriffs outside. Like at one point, you saw
them. That's when you saw.
At one point, I saw a bunch of sheriffs, and then that's when I saw what girl it was. And that's when I saw Tiffany saying, "Don't worry about like it. You're gonna be fine." Like she was saying, "I can, I'll get you whatever you need.
Oh yeah, that's
like
right.
I'll hook you up with whatever you need. Like that way she wasn't stressed out. That girl, poor girl. Tiffany's so sweet, by the way. She's just amazing.
She's like the best.
I'm so glad we're gonna be able to have our baby girl at this place again because of all those people at Pure Birth. They're just so nice, and we've had nothing but great experiences with these people, with these midwives But that guy obviously
was like drunk or something.
I think he was probably drunk or something. It was like Sunday at like 7 in the morning. He was probably like hungover or something,
and he was probably drinking while she was in labor all night.
Right. Anyways, but that was the scariest thing ever because I seriously thought it was like a shooting. Like I thought we were gonna have to stay in the bathroom.
I'm like in fucking
and she's
labor,
in labor.
guys,
But anyways, so that tripped me out.
And you know how they say like a woman will like. If she's in like a stressful situation, her labor will stop. Okay, so I literally think it delayed things at that point because like energetically, obviously I'm like freaked out. And I'm like, oh my God, like what? And also it threw me off that someone else was coming in, which I kind of didn't really want, but like, I had to let go of that. And like, I started thinking about her a lot, like throughout the rest of the day, because not only could I hear her, and there was that mixed energy. I also was thinking like of her situation and like made me feel really like sad. Uncomfortable, sad. Like, oh my God, she has nobody there for her. Like what? At least the guy wasn't there. Yeah. And I didn't know I didn't know her. Like I didn't know her whole situation, but she was in my field, and I was thinking about that, and it threw me off a bit. It was hard. It was really hard to like have that. I think be a part of that day. So again, some more full moon energy for sure. So I'm kind of like, I'm definitely okay with not birthing on the full moon because full moon energy is very intense. But I give so much credit to the moon and like we have a whole new relationship now because the moon helped me birth my baby. Like really it did. So things happened. That was 7 a.m. I still didn't even know at this point. I had 12 hours to go.
Oh my God.
Maybe it was like 8 out. Maybe it was 8. So we're in the room, guys. Like, we're just like, I'm laboring. They're like, try to eat. You need to try to eat. I'm like trying to have these little apple sauces, string cheese, like little things. Fabian's literally falling asleep. Like, his eyes are closing. I'm like so annoyed. I'm like, we should have had a doula. We needed to have a doula. I knew it this whole time. Do I need to call Audrey? Like I kept thinking in my mind, like I should call Audrey. And then I'm like, no, we got this. Ugh, I don't want to bother anybody. I was just like so going through it. I was in pain and like I was trying to do the hypnobirthing. I was listening to the music. It was so like, it started to get sunny, like really sunny. And I was like, ugh, this is not the mood. I need it to be like dark. Because that, like, that's helps your brain. Your oxytocin is through darkness also. So I'm like, oh, I was just, like, in that dark zone. They come check me. They're like, okay, well, do you want to, like, get in the pool? Like, we'll fill up the tub for, like, some comfort. I get in the pool. And I'm, like, already, like, trying to push. Like, I'm feeling, like, pushing mode. Like, this whole time, I'm like, she's like, yeah, it's because baby's head is, like, right there. Like, he was just sitting there, hanging out. Like just literally on like just trying to come and I'm like trying to push but I wasn't even at like 10 centimeters yet, so really honestly it was too soon. So they checked me in the tub and she's like, okay, you're getting hemorrhoids, like I think you got to get out and like walk around and stuff and let's try something else. And I'm like, oh, okay, because it felt so good to be in there and I'm thinking, oh, maybe we're close, like maybe it's getting there to like this transition spot. No.
Wasn't the water kind of cold?
And then there were issues with like the water because in the other girl's tub, like they were trying to fill her tub or something. Yeah. It was just like annoying. It was literally starting to be like, ugh.
I think she got all the hot water first, maybe.
And then I'm like, I should have been in the other room, like, ugh. And then like she was by herself. She should have been in the back room, smaller room. No. It was all perfect. It all worked out perfectly. But like these little things like come up. Anyway, it felt so good to be in the water, though. I do remember that, like, I really hope I can make it to the water this time. Like, I really hope that I can, like, do the whole thing in the water, because that felt so good. Yeah. Like, it really does take away a lot of that, like, pain. So then I get out, and, like, I don't want to move, guys. Like, I just literally want to lay down I wanted to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. Things are just like, it's like a constant pain at this point. It's not even like rushes. It's just like, you're just hurting. Baby's head is like right there and like, it hurts. And I'm like, I have them check. I remember like them leaving like a lot, like the midwives. So at that point, like the midwives staff like changed. So Marivette ended up going to the other girl, and then Angela, this girl, comes in, and then this other midwife, Sheila. So I had 2 midwives, and oh my God, it was so perfect though. Like honestly, it all worked out so beautifully. It was so perfect that Angela was my midwife, because, well, I'll tell you in a second, but so they come in, they check. She's like, yeah, just try to, like, she did Rebozo on me. She was like, you know, you were trying to sleep. You would push on me, like, over and over again as best you could. But, like, I was just, like, basically laying down, like, waiting on my, like, all fours. You know, I was just doing a bunch of different things. Then they recommended an IV because I wasn't getting enough fluids. And I'm like, oh, no. Then I remember Tiffany coming in. She finally came in. And she was like, do you want to, like, break the waters, right? I think she said, like, do you want to break the waters? Because the bag was just sitting, like, on my cervix, like, putting all that pressure that was just, like, really, really intense. And I think at that point, I think I said yes, or I was like, I'll think about it or something. I think I might have waited a bit, and then I think I decided, like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So they ended up coming back and like breaking my water bag, and that's when they realized that Sol had pooped because there was some meconium in the water bag when they broke it. That's what I remember. Yeah, so it was in the water. They broke it, and then like they're like, okay, it's gonna really come on now, like everything's gonna like happen. So then it did. And I never got back in the water, guys. Like I stayed on the bed at this point. At that point it was like 4:00. We still had like a few more hours.
Yeah.
And so then they broke the water. What else happened? I think I just was going through those contractions for a while.
Yeah.
And I never had the belly contractions. I still didn't at this point. I still was just having like these period cramps or just pressure down there. And my music stopped at one point, and then everything just kind of started to get blurry. So this is how I know now I was in transition, because I can barely remember this whole part. Like it just was so blurry. Like it felt like 30 minutes, but it was like long. It was like 3 hours.
Right? Yeah, it did go by fast in a way.
But like things just started to pick up a lot, and I think I just kept pushing. Oh, this is where it was like scary. Okay, so I was pushing, and then this is where my intuition told me, like, I need her to check me. Like, someone needs to check me. So I remember you having to go get them.
Yeah, I went to...
like, can you go get them? Like, where are they? I need somebody to check me.
They were having lunch or whatever.
I felt like I needed to be checked, because I needed to see what was going on.
And I went and got them, and she came over, and she came through, and she said, you know what? What'd she say?
Angela came in, and she's like, okay, you're closing up. You're, like, down now. You're down to, like, a 6. You're swelling. You're getting swelling. You need to relax your breathing. Like, what's going on? And she's like, what's going on through your mind? She had, like, me do a whole reality check for a minute. Like, this is, like, why I love Angela so much. And she was just, like, what I needed. She gave me a pep talk. She's like, girl, what's going on in your mind right now? Like, what are you thinking about? Like, let it go. Release it right now. Like, you're closing up. You need to soften. You need to open. You need to breathe. You need to take deep breaths. Like, she was showing me how to breathe, because I was, like, forgetting how to breathe. I was literally, like, so resisting. And I needed to hear that. And she's like, if you can't do that, you're going to have to transfer you. We're going to have to transfer, and it's a C-section, okay? And I was like, oh, fuck, we're bringing this up. And then I heard, like, my mom's voice in my head, who, like, had said that maybe, like, a week or two prior. So I was just, like, annoyed, you know? I was like, oh. But then I really did have to surrender. And I remember, like, I think we had, like, a talk. She's like, okay, whatever you need to do, like, talk with your partner. Let it go. Like, let it go, right? She said something like... And then so she, like, left. After, I was like, okay. Because she felt that, like, when I breathed a certain way, that it would open back up. It was so interesting. So that was like also a sign that I was like, okay, I'm going to do more breath work this time, because I need to remember and know how to breathe like 24/7, like not forget that open part, because it really does open you up. But so then, like, Fabian and I just had, like, we were like, let's just, like, okay, you're right. I gotta surrender. If I gotta transfer, I gotta transfer. All right? Like,
Yeah.
Whatever. Because I remember, I think you were like, just, like, get over it. Or not, like, get over it, but, like, you were just, like, just if we have to, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
You were really trying to, like, tell me it was okay.
I said the goal here is to get the baby to come to Earth, and we need the baby here. So, like, I just had to, that's like, what really matters, you know? And I said, everything's gonna be fine. You know, if we have to do that, we gotta do that, and that's it. Like, just, and as soon as, I feel like as soon as you kind of said, okay, yeah, if we have to go to the hospital, we go. That's when things started moving. It's honestly, like, once you accept it, like, accept the worst, maybe?
I really did, and in my mind, I did. I actually thought, like, okay, that's what's gonna actually have to happen. I'm just gonna do it. That's it. And I think at one point, I was like, I want to do it. I just, you know what, that would be easy. I don't think I could ever do this again. This is when you know you're, like, about to get to your hardest part. They always say this when you're at that point. And so I'm realizing that now. Like, actually,
we forgot about that, huh?
That was that transition point where you're like, you're about to, like, oh, I got chills, because, like, that's where you're about to, like, literally, like, bring your baby, like, down. Oh my god, I could cry.
Yeah, so remember that this time. So once it gets super bad,
it does. It's really remember that moment where you're like,
the baby's gonna come.
That's it. I'm gonna go have a C-section. I was like, that's it. I'm gonna go have a C-section. I'm gonna go get go to the hospital. I've given up. But, like, I didn't give up. And actually, like, you know what? That was where my fire came through. And you know what? I think, honestly, that was when the moon was going into Aries, or it had just turned into there. So, like, thank you, moon, also for that power of being, like something snapped within me. It's like my inner power that knows that, like, I'm a fighter and I always am going to still keep going. Like, I did. And so then I started pushing, like, more. And we tried different positions. She came in, and Tiffany came in also, and she was like, do you want Angela to, like, help you do some guided pushing? And I was like, yes, because I really needed help, you guys. I really felt like I needed some assistance. Like, this was my first time doing it, and I can't say I was fully trusting my body. Like, I really was thinking something was going on with my body. Obviously being told that you're closing up, then you're getting hemorrhoids, all this stuff, you know, I'm feeling like my body's not, you know, I need some help. So that's what I felt like. And I got that help, and she helped me. She literally, I don't even know what time it was at this point. My music stopped playing, and I just remember thinking about that. I remember seeing my unpedicured toes and being, like, mad about that. Like, I remember being like, oh my god, these toenails, like, I didn't even paint them. I started thinking all this shit. Like, I'm like, where's my fucking music? Like, but I didn't say anything. I'm just, like, thinking this in my mind, like looking around the room, you know. I'm like, oh my god, the vibe, this looks so small, like, and I'm like, what is going on here? And I'm like a daze. And then, like, so Angela's, like, helping me do different positions. Apparently I don't remember this, but do you remember when I was on all fours? She said that, like, because they check your baby's heart rate to see, like, if the baby likes it, you know, then if they're happy, then it's good. Did I like it, or was it the baby that didn't like it? Why couldn't I be on all fours? Because when I wrote it, I said that the baby liked it, but I didn't. Like, it wasn't comfortable for me. I don't remember, but anyway, because I was on my back. And then I ended up being on my back, or on my side. I was kind of, like, on my side. She handed Fabian the rebozo to, like, play tug-of-war with me.
Yeah, that helped. So. And
this was, like, towards the very end. And I'm thinking, I got a long way to go. I'm like, am I going to get back in the tub? I remember thinking, I'm like, when do I go in the tub again? Like, I want to get in the tub. And,
yeah, you put your foot on
your leg.
My
leg.
God,
my legs were so sore after this. This was a workout. It was truly a marathon. And we played tug-of-war, and you held the phone in my face, taking video. And you're like, yeah! You're, like, cheering me on, and Angela's like, come on, Bria! Like, you guys, I felt like I was, like, playing a game.
I was like, oh gosh, and then I felt the baby's...
She's like, oh, baby's head's right there. And she put her fingers and she moved my cervix out of the way. Wait, that was the freaking part. She helped that baby come through, and she opened my cervix. So I just read something about this anterior lip thing, which I think it might have been that like due to like just like everything that was going on, I might have like either had an anterior lip in my cervix, which means that like it's almost like it needs to be pushed out of the way, actually. Like it's otherwise you do close up and you do swell. The top of the cervix will swell, and that was what was happening. So Angela helped me by like pushing that part up and like out of the way so that baby could like come through. And then he was coming through. And yeah, and then we did the rebozo, and then we did like that. I was pushing yeah, and they were cheering me on, and it was going, and it was happening, and I was grunting and like roaring.
Angela was like, she was like, "Do you want to feel the head? Look."
And I did, and I felt it for a second. I'm like, "What the?"
Yeah, I could see it. I could feel it, and I saw the hair. I was like, I saw his little black hair.
Oh my god!
His little dark hair,
insane.
and I was like, "Oh wow!" But then, when the baby started coming out, it was like the head was like kind of just sticking out for a second, and it wasn't like
he was just like there, and his body was.
It was just the head was so what do you call it? So what's
the
that?
Cone?
It was like a cone in a way. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like
the mold. It was molded.
It was mold.
So you can tell that
my
his head really needed to mold to fit through my pelvis.
Yeah.
And to fit. So I wonder about that with this baby.
They had obviously mentioned that that's gonna happen. The baby's head always molds and becomes a little cone head to get out. But even seeing it, actually seeing it, like even though I was warned,
it was intense.
Seeing it made me kind of scared. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Well, because it was actually more than most people, I think.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when he did come out, like, it was just like, "Wow, look at that molding." They were like, "Whoa, look at that."
Yeah, when they were saying that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, are you just being nice? Because like this is like the way the baby is." Or,
no, I think it was more
scared.
than most people.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's just like the way. It could have been a few things. Me laying down a lot throughout labor and not being as active. So this time I'm like I need to be up. I need to be like walking around. I need to like make sure I encourage him down instead of him trying to like do too much. Maybe he was trying so hard to like get down, and like also being on your back doesn't help, and I was on my back for a while, and I think that's why also like coming through he had to probably like mold his way a little bit. That's why they say, you know, like gravity, being on all fours or squatting or like, you know, all that is going to help them be in the right position, and also for me, or you know, the birthing person to like experience less pain, because that gravity really helps to like just smoothly come out instead of them having to work so hard. So we had to work really hard. Everybody did. Angela with her hands in there, Fabian doing tug of war with me, this soul trying to push his way out, me pushing him out. Yeah, I wouldn't say I definitely don't want to be on my back again. Like backside, no. Like I would want to be on all fours, on squatting, or that's it.
What's wrong with on your back?
It's just not like they have to work a lot harder to get down. It's not.
The baby does?
Yeah, it's tiring for everybody.
Oh.
So it's just not like an ideal position.
Got it.
It's more restrictive, so it's really like you want gravity to work for you, obviously, because like their heads.
You could almost do it standing up too.
Yeah, a lot of people do it that way, and that's how I want to. I'm hoping like I can like be like on my knees or something in the tub, like my statue girl. I have a little birth statue girl. She's like on her knees. Yeah. I'm hoping that I can have that experience in the tub where it's just like, you know, and I've done a lot more squats this time. But anyway, so his head's out and I just have a few more pushes to go and I get him out. So he comes out. It was amazing. It was just like, oh, what a relief. Like, I just remember that, like, that flood of oxytocin after, of like, oh my God, like, it felt good. Actually, like, felt good at that point. To be like, oh, he's out. And then, you know, they like hand him to me and the rest just got blurry because I started bleeding so much. I know the placenta came out like right away, like within like 2 minutes. Like it was like right away. So the placenta came out like right after your soul did.
Does it hurt when the placenta comes out?
I did not feel it. It did not hurt me. But I know some women can feel like a lot of pain depending on how long after, and it can take up to an hour. But for me, it was like right away. It just, after that, it felt so easy. Like that felt like nothing coming out. And So we obviously left the cord on for hours. But then I started bleeding like a lot. And I honestly didn't even know that was happening. I mean, I felt it a little bit, like just gushes and gushes of blood. But like, I couldn't really stop it. I mean, I did stop it though. But that's when Angela was like, okay, you need to stop bleeding or else we're gonna have to transfer you. So you need to tell your body to stop bleeding. And I knew I was going to stop bleeding. I don't know why I didn't take it so seriously. I must have been so, like, oxytocined out. But I was, like, I was definitely high, like, at that point. I was like, give me a piece of my placenta. And she's like, okay. So she, like, did. And she, like, gave it to me and put it in my cheek. And then they were, like, preparing all the medication to help me stop the bleeding because I wasn't really stopping.
Didn't you say that that's how people sometimes stop the bleeding?
Yeah.
Is through...
Yeah, so animals eat their placenta. Like, we're the only people that, like, don't ingest our placenta. I mean, more people are doing it now, but, like, animals, like, instinctually, like, they just eat their placenta right away because it's, like, interesting that, like, they would do that, right? But we don't eat our full-on placentas necessarily. I mean, some people do, but not right away, you know? Like, it takes some time. Obviously, you're going to eat it, like, right, like, the second you have birth. But, yeah, it's known to stop your bleeding. And I've read about that and learned about that, heard about it for a long time. So I just, like, I don't know. I instinctually actually felt like that would be good. Like, I need something of that nutrients to, like, kind of, like, reground and center my body. Because I just lost it all, right? Like, it's like I gave everything up and don't have anything now. Like, give me part back, you know? Like, maybe to, like, keep everything intact. So she gave it to me. She had me put it in my cheek. And you know what? Eventually it stopped. The bleeding stopped. But go ahead. You can tell your part on that because I know that was like... I didn't know how scared Fabian was, but apparently he was like really going through it when that was happening.
Yeah,
when
you were bleeding, you were just bleeding and it was like looking like a puddle of just blood on the bed. Yeah, it was just like looking really bloody. The whole place was looking like a crime scene. It was like intense. And then Bria's like face was looking a little pale, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like just thinking like they better stop this bleeding. We gotta get to, if not, we're gonna have to get to the hospital. But then I was like, is there gonna be like, is that enough time like to get to the hospital? What if she's bleeding more? I was getting scared. Like, I was like starting to think like this girl's gonna bleed to death.
Aww.
And it was sad. I was scared, and I think at that point her parents were calling or...
Oh my God, everyone was like wanting to know what was going on.
So I remember answering. I went to the other room and I answered and I said, yeah, I told him that the baby was here. Everything is good, but right now they're trying to stop some bleeding. But I don't even know if I told him that or if I was thinking that. I don't remember at this point if I actually told him. I said, but she's good. But I said, I think I said, can I call you guys back? Because that was happening still. And anyways, but
oh my God, that's so crazy.
And so she was still holding Soul at this point. But then I think the bleeding stopped. But then I come in and they finally got the bleeding. Or she told her. That's when Bria said, I ate the placenta, or I have the placenta in my mouth. And
you were gone through that whole time?
Yeah, I didn't see the part where you actually asked.
You didn't?
No. For a second, because I stepped out. And I think
I think I remember that.
Yeah, I think I was getting you food too. I was like,
oh my God, too much going on.
Yeah. Anyways, but I noticed Bria was like breastfeeding the baby.
Oh, so this was cool though. Well, not cool. I mean, cool and not cool, right? It was beautiful that like he latched so easily, like right away when I put him to my breast. But then
But since Bria was laying back because they were taking care of the bleeding, instead of her being up, she was like more laying back.
Yeah.
The baby was latched on, but he was like literally like his face was just face down on her breast. So he was like
I didn't even notice that.
Like suffocating because his face was completely flat on her breast because she was laying down. But at this point, the baby was like suffocating, and then I was like, "Is he breathing? Is he okay?" And then that's when Angela right away grabbed the baby, and she the baby was turning kind of bluish, and then they started patting his back, and then they did like a little. They put something on his face so he could breathe again. It was crazy.
I was so high on oxytocin. I just was like, everything's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Even when they were doing that, I was like, he's gonna be fine. I thought everything was gonna be fine. Like, I literally...
But that scared the hell out of me too. I was
Oh
worried
my
about
God, it was
Bria's
so
bleeding
scary.
and then the
I feel
baby
bad.
turning blue
Definitely.
almost because of the suffocating on Bria's breast because he was trying to eat, but he couldn't lift his head up. He was just like face down.
Oh my God, that was... I can't even believe that right now.
That's
like,
crazy. That it was
sometimes
kind of
I laugh when I'm nervous, guys. So like, I'm just like, giggling because like, oh my God, it's insane that even.
And that was
like,
I was
happened.
like, Jesus Christ! Like I never want to go through this again. I'm like,
I
it's
know.
so stressful.
I
Anyways,
know.
but finally the baby poops and he's fine. I mean, he's finally fine. They get him back to normal, and it wasn't like that long. He wasn't breathing. I mean, he wasn't not breathing that long. He was okay, but it was scary because if it could have gone any longer, that wouldn't have been good. Finally, everything was fine. Bria's not bleeding anymore. The baby's good, and that's when reality hit. When Sheila was her name.
Sheila.
Mm-hmm. She was like, here you go. The baby pooped again. He pooped and it was like all over. He was just pooping, and then she's like, here's a diaper. Here you go. Like and then that's when I realized it's time.
Oh my God!
It's time to clean up the baby and change him.
Step into dad mode.
Or just to
and I'm like not doing anything. I'm just
and she was like, you just put it on like this. Like it's okay. Like she was like, you don't have to be so like gentle. It's like. Just
you were like shaking.
Put it on, and I was like, "Damn!" Like I remembered like the classes that we took when we practiced with these fake babies on how to put on diapers and stuff. Anyways, but it just hit me like, "Wow, this is it. I'm changing diapers now. I'm cleaning up his mess. It's my baby. It's my responsibility. No one else is gonna do it for you." So, but anyways, I remember that was the start of me being like the professional baby diaper changer. Because I'm the one that changed all his diapers pretty much. Bria,
all of them.
Bria
would
Bria would breastfeed and then I would change. I remember that was our routine. Anyways, but that was like that happened like that for like the first 6 months. But anyways, back to the change of the diaper. Yeah. So
that was the little bits of drama.
There's also that part where like the baby was coughing. She had to like, because they have phlegm coming out of their mouths when they're born, and so they kind of cough like they're kind of like have a bunch of stuff.
They're working on their lungs. Yeah,
their lungs are still being cleared. So it happened again at the elevator when we were going home. But I don't know if you want to go back to you had to get sewed.
Oh yeah. Okay, so basically, I only barely tore like a little tiny bit. Like Tiffany came in being like, you don't have to get sutured. It's totally up to you. It might be beneficial like in the long run, but like it's totally up to you. Like it's not 100% necessary. And so I did it just because, you know what, intuitively I just felt like, you know what, let me do it. I just feel like I'd rather do it than not do it and like have extra pain later on, like unnecessary. And you know, it's just easy. It was so small. It wasn't like a really anything that super bad. So I felt like it would be fine. It's like I didn't want to, but I wanted to. Like I felt like it would just be better to do that. So throughout this whole like process, you know, obviously Fabian has like, he's having all this work to do all of a sudden, but hey, I just had a ton of work that I just finished, and I'm like trying to be fed. I didn't even have much of an appetite, honestly. I remember like I had brought this like thermos of like this
molasses.
It's basically this Ayurvedic rice pudding that's like got molasses in it, so it's something that's really good to eat for the first few days after you give birth because it helps soften your stool, and it's just like really, really good for you. But I could not eat it. It was not like, I was like, ugh, no. She tried to bring it to me, and like I think that's all I brought. Like we didn't have like any like real meal because I think I thought that like my parents were gonna bring some food. I didn't realize it was gonna be so late. At this point it was like 10 or 11, but it was came out at like 7:21 p.m. 8.05 ounces, 8 pounds 0.5 ounces, and 21 inches long. So he was tall and perfect size, and it was all perfect. But so we were there for a while. We did delayed cord clamping. We had our little intentional cord cutting moment hours later after like having our golden hour, and that was beautiful. But Fabian definitely had a lot going on for him. I think after the baby came out, he was like your energy like came back. You were just like, oh, I have all these things to do now. Like they were like having you do all this stuff, and I'm like in La La Land being taken care of. Well, they had to give me an IV. They had to like up my fluids. They had to give me all this medication for the bleeding. So they did give me Pitocin to stop the bleeding. They kept giving me arnica. They gave me lots of stuff, like basically every medication under the sun. I mean, I was literally hemorrhaging and about to go to the hospital if I didn't stop. So I'm grateful that I did stop. I really did tell my body to stop. I love how Angela told me that. Like, she really is so good about, like, correlating, like, your mind to your body and, like, how you can be so in control over it. And I appreciated that, you know, it wasn't like out of my control. She's like, you can make it stop, you know, like, and I was like, hell yeah, I can. And I think that energy also helped me make it stop, because if somebody else were to tell me I was doomed, I think I would have gone into doomed mode instead of being like, yeah, I can make this stop. So it did stop, and Tiffany brought me this like Uncrustable. She's like, I have an Uncrustable. So now we're always like, every time we see Uncrustables, we're like, I'll never forget that moment. We always talk about it. Like, that was one of the first things I ate after birth. I forgot what else there was. I think that was it. And then Fabian ordered Denny's. We're like, what's open right now? Because it was like 11:30 on a Sunday. And like, we're like, Denny's. Or IHOP or something. It was Denny's or IHOP.
Yeah, it was, I think IHOP.
And he got me like steak with like veggies and like
but you didn't
mashed
want
potatoes.
to eat it barely.
I barely could eat. You guys, it was horrible. I'm like, I need to be eating, but I could not eat. I was just like so high. Also, probably the medication affected that. Thank God my breastfeeding wasn't affected. It was perfect. Like, definitely had so much breastfeeding pain. And now that I think about it, I wonder if all the breastfeeding pain maybe was contributing to all that medication. Because usually they say like any medication or even like that Pitocin stuff could like affect your breastfeeding ability.
Oh shit.
I mean, at least like we didn't have an issue with breastfeeding, but like I had painful breastfeeding. And they say that it's not supposed to hurt like that. Like, it's a poor latch. He had no poor latch. I just had sore ass freaking nipples. Like, they hurt like I never experienced in my entire life. Even to this day, I'm like, I would never want to feel those painful, sharp like needles, nipples again. Like, it was so painful. But I pushed through, and I breastfed Soul for a year, so I'll talk about that in another episode. But I was so grateful for like that to go really easily. Tiffany took such good care of me. The midwives took such good care of me.
You call Angela Angel Hands.
I do. I call Angela Angel Hands because she really has angel hands. She pushed that cervix out of the way to get my baby to come through, and I did not have to go to the hospital this whole time. And as much as that came up several times, like, it didn't happen. And sometimes I think I've noticed something about me is that sometimes I need little wake up calls to like get a different energy out of me, because sometimes I can get into this like la 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 pattern or just like mode where I need this like reality check. Is this girl, like, come on? And I'm like, okay. And I like snap back into it. So I kind of also want to like not have that be a thing anymore. I don't want to have to be told those things to like get into it. So I'm trying to like work on that right now. But definitely it was an intense, transformative experience for sure. And like, we were just so grateful that like everything was great with Soul. We didn't do anything. Like, he was born whole. We kept him whole. We did not do any newborn procedures. No vaccines.
That's the reason why. Nothing. One of the reasons why we like having the baby at the Pure Birth Center is because good about that. Anyways, they're cool about that. And also, I'm so glad we didn't vaccinate him with all like these 14 different vaccines you got to do in the first
we
year.
Don't believe in that.
That's a lot of chemicals going into your body. Anyways,
it's unnecessary.
But Soul didn't get sick until he was like, what, 14 months?
Yeah, he got sick for the first time at like 14 months, and I wasn't breastfeeding anymore.
He didn't get sick his whole first year of being in life.
Yeah.
He didn't get sick. I got sick, but he didn't. Like,
yeah.
he did so good. Like, he's been healthy. He's been the healthiest baby.
And
I'm so happy that he's been the healthiest baby.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with also not doing any of those newborn procedures because they're just so unnecessary.
Now he's almost 20
I'm
months.
like, I don't need genetic testing on my kid. Who knows what else they do with that blood test? Like, I just, no. If we really want to find out something one day in life, we'll do it. I don't feel called to in this moment as his birth. Like, he needs to keep all his blood to himself right now. Like, I just think that your blood is so precious. Like, you don't need to be giving it up right when you're born. You know, that's why we also don't cut the cord right away. That baby needs all their blood. I don't do any of that cord blood banking for what? Like, he's not going to need it. The more he has all of his blood, the more he's going to just be more perfect, you know, because we're not taking something away from him. Same thing with circumcision. You're just taking something away from them that is not meant to be taken. Your blood, your precious blood, you know, and then like the eye ointment, that's for if you have a freaking STD. So if you don't have an STD, there's no need for a baby to have eye ointment. Let me just tell you, my brother and I both had eye ointment at birth, and we have like bad eyesight, and it didn't come on until later on in life. My brother, well, for me, when I was in 3rd grade, but my brother, when he was like basically 1.5, or like they found that he could barely see out of one eye. But, like, who knows what that eye ointment can do to you, you know? Vitamin K, that's a whole other topic, too. Unless your baby's about to get some surgery, it's unnecessary. You know what? You could change your mind if you feel like in a few days you need to do some vitamin K. But, like, I just don't think it's necessary. That has a black box label. Look into it. Like, know what you're giving your kid. Because a lot of these things are just so unnecessary. It's just more money in the bank for the industry, and it's not always beneficial for your kid's health. So it really, I mean, it's case by case for sure. If you just do your research. That's all I can say. Do your own research. We did a lot of research before. I read so many articles. We really and then, you know what? We trusted our gut and our instincts. At the end of the day, we really go based off of our intuition and how we really feel about something.
Yeah, always go with your intuition for sure.
Yeah.
And I was open to, in general, I was always open to vaccines and stuff. But for some reason, something told me, why are you going to vaccinate this precious little healthy baby with stuff that he doesn't need right now? Like, what do you need all this for?
What are we afraid of that he's gonna get? Honestly, kids are so powerful and their immune systems are so strong. For the most part, look, like I said, everybody's different. They have their own genetic makeup. So you know yourself and your baby more than anybody else does. This is how it's worked best for us, because we know that this has just been our experience, right? We feel like, our kid is fine without all of it, but there might be reasons that other people have. I just always say, if something's out of fear though, check in with yourself on that, because I think a lot of people decide things out of fear or because other people do it, or but it's really a fear thing. It's I'm afraid that I'm gonna get sick from this. But what if you never do, and you just have something in your body your whole life, and that causes more extra problems? So we're a type of family that always promotes healing, and we always go into a really deeper sense of why physical ailments can happen. So I think we're just always very mindful of the healing journey and how also intelligent our cells are. And this is why I feel doing the natural birth route is it works for us really good, because we're just intelligent. Our cells, our minds, our hearts, we can really have any experience that we want and really create it. So yeah, I just feel there was a little bit of drama through our birthday, through Soul and I's birthday, but it was overall
I'm excited.
We have a healthy, beautiful baby boy, and he's doing so well. He's doing 20 months now. He's going to be 21 months by the time Yeah, on June 9th, he'll be 20 months? Shoot, I can't even
Wait,
think.
so yeah, June 9th, he'll be 20 months.
Yes, and we're going to have our little girl in, like, the next few weeks. And
I feel like we
why
went
would
through...
it go any worse than it did this time?
Yeah, we went through a lot. We definitely went through a lot, you know, but it's nothing that we can't handle. And, you know, I'm prepared for anything this time around. And it's going to be a beautiful... It's going to be a happy ending. That's all I got to say, no matter what.
And honestly, even just, like, talking about all this, too, like, it makes me think, like, number one, why would it be any worse than that? Like, and if it was, like, fine, we go to the hospital and we transfer and, like, we get taken care of. And we still don't do the thing. You know, we just, you know what? Everything is moment by moment.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting our intuition. We know the base of what we want. But, like, you know, we're also open to the fact that things change sometimes. And, like, I also don't want to overthink things and, like, have too set of a plan. I'm just, like, holding my intention for a beautiful, easy, safe, and gentle birth.
Yeah, just think about... all we gotta worry about is car seats and diapers, and that's it.
Washing her clothes.
And
if she don't wash her clothes,
the rest is gonna be in God's hands.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, it'd be nice if we get someone to clean the house right before, but like, if someone comes this week to clean the house and the baby doesn't come for 2 more weeks, it's just gonna be a dirty house again.
Yeah, I feel like I need to wash the car, the truck. I need to wash the Tahoe first. Outside, but I want to vacuum it.
Oh yeah, we gotta vacuum.
Get that dust out of there, and as far as the house, everything's working out.
I'm like, and so we have a doula this time, which is amazing, because last time we didn't have a doula, and that's definitely something that I do realize was gonna be so much more helpful this time. I highly recommend that for people just to have extra support, because you really don't know what's gonna come up. You don't know how long your first labor is gonna be. You don't know how long any labor is gonna be. Like, I mean, you can kind of have a guesstimate and, like, hope that you know, but, like, I didn't think our labor was like, the whole thing was going to be 42 hours. Like, I was thinking 24 hours. I'm honestly thinking, like, I'll be happy if I get half the time as last time, which usually I think it is the second baby. But our labor and birth, like, it was all 42 hours. That was long. And you know what? I was on literally 3 hours of sleep that whole thing.
Damn.
If you think about it, you got a little bit more sleep than I did, but like at that point I was like, that's the least amount I've ever slept in my entire life.
Well, you're young, you're a college girl still, so you could stay up late.
No, but I've never gone like that. Like that beats it for me for sure. But I had a really beautiful postpartum period also. Like, I really chilled and relaxed. And okay, so one thing though, he did have a little jaundice, like when we went back for our first appointment postpartum, which was like 2 days after.
Which is very common.
Very common.
I feel like my cousin's baby also has some jaundice too.
And, you know, we didn't end up taking him to the hospital. We didn't have to do any of that. We did have a really good pediatrician.
Yeah, she just said sunlight.
Sunlight, breastfeeding, skin to skin. And we did all that, and he it went down. You know,
a week later, he was fine. We did
have to check, though.
Oh, they made us.
They did take
poke
the
his
blood,
little feet.
and I
he
did
was,
not
and
that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wouldn't have done that again.
You know what? If a kid has jaundice, you know it's gonna go. Now we know all you need is.
I think you just gotta trust your intuition with it. If you look and you see it gets to a state, and if you see your baby gets to a certain type of state of being, you know, like, I think you really do. Like, something snaps in you, and I really wish that I didn't do those unnecessary needle pricks.
Now we know to prevent jaundice. Possibly, all we have to do is just make sure the baby gets sun and skin to skin, a lot of breast milk, huh? So maybe a little bit more of that natural sunlight, like me taking him into the patio for a little bit longer. I did that with Soul, but I guess it wasn't enough.
No, I don't think we did it in the first day or two.
Yeah.
Until, like, we knew that, and they were like, okay, we'll actually go outside, because we were inside the whole time.
Right.
And they just need, they need that vitamin D, like, right away. They need to, like, also just adjust to their environment.
On that chair.
Yeah.
By the sun window.
Babies are, you know, they want to integrate into their environment, inside and outside, and that's what I think I realized also. Yeah. So we definitely learned so much about birth, about, like, trusting your body. I know that, like, I unlocked a whole different side of, like, I unlocked my chakras. Like, I unlocked the root chakra, and now this one I'm really going to unlock the pleasurable sacral chakra, because I want to have a more pleasurable experience. I want to be more in the moment. I read this amazing book this pregnancy called Mindful Birthing for Pregnancy and Childhood or something. And it's really amazing. And she literally, the way she talks about, like, being present during your, just every moment of every day, but, like, you know, for labor and your birth, like, really just being in the moment and, like, being with your breath. It's all about your breath. Like, your breath is your best friend. And things aren't that long. Like, if you were to time, like, the amount of, okay, so given if you're gonna have, like, a normal contractions, like, you know, and all in all, you might have only an hour worth of, like, contractions, because there's all this space in between. So, like, when you look at it that way, it's like, oh, see, it's not that bad. And then, like, yeah, it's really not that bad. Nothing's that bad. So it's really, like, where your mind's at and, like, where your energy's at. So it's just, it pays to be in the moment and to just let things go and to, like, trust, for sure. But I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for everybody who helped us. Like, I'm excited to do it again and have a new experience. I know it's gonna be different. What about you?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready. I like the part where the baby is at home finally. I remember the next morning being like, wow, it felt like a dream, and now the baby's here. Like that, it was just like,
so surreal.
it feels so peaceful when the baby's just in your bedroom sleeping, and you're just like excited, taking pictures and just sending it to family, and knowing that your baby's finally here, and it's just the best feeling in the world. And that's where I can't wait to experience that again with our little baby girl. Just having her, like, in my arms and just holding her, and her being so happy and comfortable and sleeping. Yeah. And then seeing her little eyes open up every now and then like observing and then going back to sleep.
Yeah, it's all just about, like, our intentions, you know, like, with everything, and just gratitude, ultimate gratitude for, like, everything, and definitely just having a positive energy and just trusting that everything is working and going in its divine right timing, for sure. Like, I think we've learned so much, and we're continuing to learn so much, and that's what, like, the beauty of parenthood is too, is, like, every day is different, and you learn so many things from your children and
I remember,
yourself.
can I say one thing? I remember thinking you changed from the moment you were laboring to the moment you finally had the baby. You became a different person.
Really?
Yeah, you were like something, like, especially the last, like, few weeks, you were very, like, on edge and very tense.
Hormonal.
Yeah,
My
very
hormones
hormonal,
went,
like, you know, very like, not really, like,
I wasn't that happy.
yeah, you were not. And then finally, when we were at the house with the baby, you were in such a good mood.
Oxytocin.
You were a different person. Like, I was like, wow, like, the old Bria I remember was back. It was crazy, like, because you had your baby finally. You weren't pregnant, and you were not.
I think it's normal too for, like, these last few weeks for, like, all the fears to come up, because it's like you start having, like, this is why it's so transformative for women, and this is why I think it's so important for women just to be, like, present through all of it and allow these things to come up, because you have a really big, beautiful opportunity to change and, like, grow and transform and evolve as a human, as a woman, as a mother, because you're literally becoming a mother. And each time you, like, become a mother again, you know, there's, like, new things. So I'm like, I know I'm in a different place this time, but I know there's other stuff that also is coming up that I get to work through. And I definitely have more support this time. And I need to acknowledge that, because I think sometimes I think I don't. But, like, no, I definitely have way more support this time than I did last time. And, like, I'm about to do a baby blessing ceremony. And that, like, means the world to me, literally. And, like, just knowing I have a doula, and, like, I think something snaps in you too when you become a parent. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get help if I need it, you know. Now with the second kid, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna even think twice. Like, if I got to ask for help, I'm not gonna worry about what anybody thinks. If they say no, that's it. Whatever. I'm not gonna, like, take it too personal. Like, if you gotta ask for help, you gotta ask for help, you know. Like,
yeah, and if someone can help, they'll help, you know.
Yeah, so
it's fine.
But we've learned a lot, and we're excited for this next baby, this next journey, and then the next time you guys will hear another birth story will be our next baby's birth story. So hopefully it will be, who knows when we'll tell that story, but it's still unraveling.
Bria caught me off guard today. She said we're going to do... I knew she mentioned she was going to talk about it, but I didn't think I was going to be included, which is cool. Thank you for having me today.
Of course, my love. Well, I've definitely... I was, thinking, okay, I really want to do this episode, but, I want to do it with you. I haven't wanted to do it by myself because I thought it was so important to have, your insights and opinions and how you felt about everything as well. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a good review. It really helps the show. And hopefully you guys will hear Fabian again. I'm sure we'll talk more on my little podcast.
This was my first podcast. I think I like this. I think I'm going to start my own podcast.
You should start your own podcast and I'll let everybody know to follow Fabian.
It's going to be called What's Up, Y'all?
Hey, that's a good idea. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and please follow, and I'll leave our Insta handles below so you can follow the journey and know when our next baby's here. And thank you again. Sending lots of love and light and empowerment your way. If you're about to birth, if you're a parent already, just know you're doing a great job, and just be there for all of it. All right, see you guys next time.